Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. I'm Sally Baudet, live from Johannesburg. Your top stories this evening.
Its inability to provide electricity on demand, on time, is a crisis.
South Africa, we have a crisis, and it's not over yet. Intense load shedding likely to continue for days, if not longer. Senior ANC leader and mayor Mluleki Ndobe in court tomorrow over the 2017 murder of Sindiso Magaqa. Magaqa's family says they feel vindicated. They always believed it was a politically motivated assassination. And family members dismayed that a year since the arbitration into the Life Esidimeni tragedy wrapped up. Still, no prosecutions, but the NPA says they're working on it. President Cyril Ramaphosa says the challenges faced by Eskom have reached a crisis point, and it's not over yet. The intense cycle of stage 4 load shedding, which began on Saturday, is likely to continue until Wednesday, if not longer. The crisis is being blamed on diesel shortages, maintenance problems, and power lines from Mozambique damaged in the recent cyclone. But some energy experts are warning we could be in for years of this. And South Africans are fuming. Our viewer Mtila has the details.
The important role that it plays in the economy, its inability to provide electricity on demand, on time, is a crisis.
As yet another day of stage 4 load shedding swept through the country, so did commuter outrage.
It's very, very annoying and so disappointing. Rather later, because earlier I'm almost 1.5 hours late now for traffic.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. I had to cancel my other appointment to go to another one. So this is bad.
This is costing the country lots of money. Because, people who are stuck here could be engineers, managers, people that have serious business decision to take, they're stuck on traffic.
Experts claim that stage 4 load shedding cost the economy 4 billion rand a day. Some say Eskom needs to rethink the closure of its power stations.
Eskom needs to start building power stations. It needs to reopen power stations that they have shut down. As we are speaking, 3 power stations have been shut down. Why would you shut down power stations when you need to be actually ramping up production of electricity?
Others warn South Africa could be in for even darker times.
We're heading for 5 years of intermittent blackouts because Eskom has messed up its coal supply. It will take them at least 5 years to secure a new coal supply, so expect this type of intermittent blackouts.
The embattled power utility says its maintenance teams are working around the clock to return generation units to the electricity system. Aviwe Mtila, Johannesburg.
And let's take a closer look at how the power outages are affecting ordinary people trying to make a living. Without the safety net of communal generators used at malls, small standalone business owners are particularly hard hit when the lights go out, as Peladi Situsa reports from Cape Town.
Open, closed. Open, closed. This is the pattern being followed by businesses as load shedding continues. But for some, it's not that simple.
It's difficult to call to say the clients they mustn't come. The clients come, but in the middle when we are busy with the client, the load shedding just spoil everything. As a result, we are losing clients.
Jo is having to play catch up with her clients.
Yesterday, I couldn't go to church. I was here because some of my clients that I was doing on Saturday, I couldn't finish them.
The knock-on effects are aplenty, she says.
How are we going to get paid? How are we paying our staff? How are we going to pay our rent?
For others, turning away customers has become commonplace.
I think about 20 customers just left, you see, because here we're making coffee and we're making sandwiches, we're also cooking, so without electricity you can't do nothing.
For small businesses like this, generators aren't an option. They simply have to keep their doors open and hope for the best. Peladi Situsa, Cape Town.
And Eskom has confirmed this evening that stage 4 load shedding continues until 11 p.m. Then overnight we'll be in stage 2 until 9 a.m. tomorrow, at which point we will move into stage 4 again. Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa got a rude awakening this morning while on the campaign trail on board a train in Mabopane in Pretoria. The train commute, which was supposed to take 45 minutes, took nearly 3 hours. Let's take a look.
The minute of transport,
So people are getting late, getting warnings at work, people are getting fired.
Will you make it to your top 6 officials meeting on time?
No, I'm very concerned that I'm already a good few minutes late.
We're actually happy that the president got to experience the day-to-day struggles of our commuters every day.
Proving that load shedding not the only problem facing our country. That, of course, was due to delays on the track this morning, which held up the president. Well, KwaZulu-Natal ANC heavyweight Mluleki Ndobe is set to appear in the Umzimkhulu Magistrates Court tomorrow. The Harry Gwala District Municipality Mayor was arrested yesterday morning in connection with the murder of former ANC Youth League Secretary General Sindiso Magaxa in 2017. Samkele Masego has those details.
Political killings have become synonymous with the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. Now, the party finds itself in a pickle with its former Deputy Provincial Secretary, Mluleki Ndobe, behind bars for murder. He and 4 co-accused are set to appear in the Umzimkhulu Magistrates Court. In 2016, Ndobe had this to say about masterminds behind political killings. This was at the height of political assassinations in the province.
Any member or leader of the ANC who is involved in political killings is no more longer a member or leader of the ANC and will treat that person as a criminal and a hooligan. That person will be dismissed from the ANC with immediate effect.
Magaxa's grieving mother has responded.
Umuhle kanti uphakathi kulento ngingawucela umthetho udlala indawo yawo ngoba washiya nokukhulu ubuhlungu.
Magaxa's friend says this is no surprise that Ndobe has been nabbed.
People have been claiming that these killings were that force plot, and we've been maintaining all along that these killings are nothing else but a work of political gangsters within our own organization.
The ANC in the province says if charged, it will have no choice but to remove Ndobe from its province-to-province list. Samkele Masego, Umzimkhulu.
Tomorrow marks exactly a year since the final sitting of the Life Esidimeni arbitration hearings. But to date, there have been no arrests for the deaths of patients at the hands of the Gauteng Health Department. While families demand action, the National Prosecuting Authority says it's working on it. Zikhona Chona, who's covered the tragedy since it first came to light in 2016, has this report.
I was on my way to write my paper when I got the call.
A careless loss of lives at the hands of our government. 144 psychiatric patients died after being moved from Life Esidimeni centers to unlicensed NGOs across Gauteng. Patients were loaded onto trucks like cattle and moved without documentation to facilities with no food, no beds, and no medication. Postmortems revealed some patients had paper and plastics in their stomach that they had eaten out of desperation. There was also one rape reported. Those behind it all, former Gauteng Health MEC Qedani Mahlangu, Head of Department Dr. Bani Silabano, and Head of Mental Health Dr. Magabo Manamela, all broke their oaths of office to facilitate the moves. None has taken responsibility. One thing families of both deceased and surviving patients want is justice. But Christine Ngumalo, who lost her sister in the tragedy, is disappointed by the lack of progress.
There needs to be prosecution. Definitely there needs to be prosecution, at least of the top three. But I also want to be cautious to say just the top three, because it's not only them. I believe that there's a lot of officials. If they're not prosecuted, we'll be getting away with murder, quite frankly.
She says all families had hoped that this case would be prioritized. Ngumalo is hoping the deaths of their loved ones aren't being forgotten. Zikhona Shona, Johannesburg.
Still ahead on eNews, 3 people killed in the Netherlands. Authorities say it's the work of terrorists. We'll bring you all on that story a little later.
And in your business news, the rand weakened slightly in early trade today as those power cuts weigh on market sentiment.
Let's talk money and the economy now with Rufiwa Madzena. Good evening to you, Rufiwa. We can't but talk about what's happening with Eskom, the load shedding stage 4 that we're in, which continues at least until Wednesday. As our viewer Mtele in that report earlier, it's costing our economy 4 billion rand a day. That's internal cost, but never mind cost to reputation and our general outlook as an economy. That must be enormous as well.
General outlook indeed, Sally, very bleak. I mean, it's literally bringing the economy to its knees. As you say, 4 billion rand every time stage 4 load shedding is initiated. And when it's stage 2, it's about 2 billion rand. Now, these are costs that are affecting our miners, our manufacturers, and most importantly, our food producers, who have come out to say that producing food is becoming more and more expensive. And ultimately, unfortunately for the consumer, those costs may fall on them in terms of mitigating those costs. So Standard Bank has given a bleak outlook for our economy, saying that our GDP may have about 0.5 percentage points shaved off this year's growth. And if you think about it, that's a lot, considering we only grew by 0.8% annually in the previous year. We've also got our ratings agencies at the end of the month, and given what we've seen with the very low business confidence, and really, if you look at it, a lack of direction in terms of what the plan is with Eskom, Moody's may just come out and just downgrade us.
Oh my word. Okay, well, this is not cheering me up at all.
On a Monday.
On a Monday, nogal. Let's have a look at the indicators today.
Well, yes, Sally, they had a better day today. So the JSE was up more than 700 points today, with the banks reversing earlier weakness to close higher. So we saw local stocks like retailers not faring bad at all. And the market heavyweight, that's Naspers, gained around 2.8%. On the commodities front, the oil price is rising even further today. So major oil producers led by Saudi Arabia have agreed to keep working together to prop up crude prices. So the gold price there is also staying about $1,300 an ounce, and analysts are saying that it's retaining its safe haven status. Onto the local unit now. The rand held steady after some weakness, and this is despite the country's load shedding misfortunes. Now the US Central Bank will also be announcing its interest rate decision this Thursday, which will affect that rand, and analysts are expected a softer stance on those interest rates in the US, Sally.
Thank you very much, Rufiwa Madzena. We'll chat again to you tomorrow. Well, let's take a look at news from beyond our borders now. And tropical cyclone Idai continues its trail of destruction in Zimbabwe, Mozambique and Malawi. The death toll is rising, with more than 150 people now confirmed dead. Thousands of people have been displaced across all 3 countries. Climatologists are warning this is not the end of Idai. It's said to be moving towards the western parts of southern Africa now. At least 3 people have been killed in a shooting on a tram in the Netherlands today. 9 others were injured in the incident. Police have declared the shooting a terrorist attack. They've identified 37-year-old Gokmen Tanis as the suspected gunman. The shooting comes just days after a gunman killed at least 50 people at 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand. Well, we've got plenty more ahead for you. We'll go to our weather centre for your live weather report. And then
I've got a crush on you, Tanya, baby.
The power of old Blue Eyes lives on. A Frank Sinatra hit play guaranteed to make you swoon. Let's go down to Cape Town. Candice McKechnie standing by. All the weather news, not only in South Africa, but I presume as well, tracking the progress of what it's now tropical storm Adai across the continent.
Hi, good evening, Sally. Well, yes, we're still seeing wet weather in our neighbouring countries of Zimbabwe and Mozambique. And in South Africa, we've actually seen a bit of an increase in thunderstorm activity as well. Luckily, not in the huge amounts that we've seen in the other parts of the subcontinent. In fact, we're still quite enjoying that thunderstorm activity, and it'll continue into Tuesday. We're also expecting some fog along the west coast overnight and into Tuesday morning. Lots of clouds settled in over the southern parts. This over the interior will clear, but things will stay cloudy for the coastal areas, and then we'll see isolated to scattered thundershowers forming over the northeastern and eastern parts. Here's a look at that weather forecast in detail across the country, with a predominantly sunny day for the Northern Cape, 37 for Pretoria and Kimberley. And there's that fog in Alexander Bay with a high of 24. Partly cloudy and warm throughout the Western Cape, mostly cloudy to cloudy as we head towards George, Mussel Bay and Bredasdorp, all in the mid-20s, and Cape Town and Longabon at 27 degrees. Warm to hot throughout the Eastern Cape. You'll see most of that thunderstorm activity over the northeastern parts. We're also expecting thundershowers over the interior part of KwaZulu-Natal, with the possibility of thunderstorms extending all the way through to the coast by Tuesday night. Bombela topping 34 with a 60% chance of thundershowers. Isolated though as we head towards the west with a high of around 30. Hot weather continues for Limpopo, Messina remaining dry at 36 with a 40 to 60% chance of thunderstorms for Limpopo. Isolated thundershowers move in over the eastern part of northwest with another sizzling hot day expected. Freiburg mostly clear at 37. We head into the mid-30s over the western and northern parts of the Free State with a few thundershowers over the far eastern parts. Gauteng can expect another hot day with afternoon isolated thundershowers. Pretoria 34 with Soweto and Johannesburg at 31 degrees. Not much change in the weather as we head into Wednesday with thunderstorms mainly over the far eastern parts, but we're expecting some light rain over the southern and southeastern part of South Africa, and that rainfall continues for George through to Thursday morning with thunderstorms mainly over the eastern parts and other hot days in store for Gauteng with a very slight chance of thundershowers very late in the evening. That's all from the Weather Centre. Have a good night.
Thanks, you as well. Candice McKechnie there in Cape Town. And finally, the international hit Sinatra Me is fresh from the West End and Los Angeles, and now it's in South Africa. It takes you on a journey through the life of the late Frank Sinatra. Tanya Neft caught up with British performer Richard Shelton.
Old Blue Eyes Frank Sinatra was nothing short of legendary.
Skies were grey, he'd always say.
So it's no surprise there are many emulating this musical genius. Enter award-winning British actor and singer Richard Shelton with his new show Sinatra and Me.
The show that I brought, Sinatra and Me, takes us on a journey with some narrative, with an insight into that man's mind, and also the great hits.
Sinatra and Me started its national tour in Durban. Johannesburg, you're next. And the mother city is being saved for last come the end of the month.
I've got a crush on you, Tanya, baby.
Tanya Neft, Cape Town.
What a charmer. Let's recap your top story this evening. Intense load shedding is likely to continue for days, at least until Wednesday, if not longer. From me and the team, it's a very good night to you.